Productions Network, 2A Radio and TV. The only independent and balanced online news network. Broadcasting from America to the world. We inform, communicate, educate.
Hello, this is the African Actions Network, 2A Radio. We are here this morning with two distinguished personalities, Mr. George Numo and Mr. Dr. Gopu. Dr. Gopu is just from Liberia. We have interest in understanding the issues that are unfolding in Liberia. So the two individuals are here, and we're going to follow on what is happening. As you may be aware, election is next month, and Liberians are about to make a decision. In the face of that, it's better to keep informing Liberians as to what is best for them and how do we see Liberia and what do we imagine Liberia will be after elections. Having said those, Dr. Gobu,
Yes.
welcome to the radio.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a pleasure being here.
Okay, what news from Liberia?
Well, the news is mixed, I would say. From my perspective, I was in Liberia as an aspirant, planning to run for the presidency of my party, which is the
We can hear you, Dr. Gopu, so you freeze. Okay, before Dr. Gopu, we can't hear you. You had to look at your. No, we can't hear you, Dr. Gopu. Mr. Numo, while we wait for Dr. Gopu to come back on, Liberia is at a crossroad and a lot is going on. What is your view about Liberia? I know I would have asked you to introduce yourself, but you're not a stranger here. But you can still say, because there might be a new person listening to you on this platform. Who is George Numo? And how do you see Liberia?
Well, George Numbo.
Yeah, hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let Dr. Kompu continue.
Yeah. You see, that's the problem with the telephone. When you're on the telephone and of course that coming in,
Yes.
it can
Yeah, we get you, Dr. Gopu, but continue with what you were saying.
Yes, I said I was in Liberia as an aspirant for the presidency and as tenor bearer of my party, the African Democratic Movement of Liberia, ADML. And that provided me an opportunity to engage citizens in some parts of the countries and also engage partisans about the future of Liberia. And I think people are enthusiastic that they are going to have a chance to choose new leaders. But then at the same time, they are also perplexed in terms of how to make those choices. How do they ensure that this time they will not be making errors? And so there's a lot of confusion with respect to how to vote or how to choose in such a way that they will not be disappointed. And at the same time, there's a lot of worries about whether or not the elections will be free and fair. And also there are issues with the economy as well. People are still struggling with respect to finding work. And those who have work are also struggling. So many of them are struggling in poverty because pay is low. The government has reduced salaries for public servants in the face of rising inflation. And there have been a lot of propaganda coming from people in government, where instead of being honest with the Liberian people with respect to some of the failures of government, they've tried to explain those things in different ways that are not being forcefully challenged. And these are
Okay,
the things that I think.
Dr. Gabo, we'll hear more detail from you. Let's hear from Mr. George Nomo. Mr. George Nomo, someone listen to you. Who is this man? A new person seeing this man, and what is your perspective on Liberia body politics? Talking about elections, you heard that Gabo who just gave some introductory comment. So, who's George Nomo, and what is the perspective about Liberia right now?
Well, I'm George Numbo. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's all about me. But I want to ask Dr. Gompo a question. He was in a
Can you
race.
give us your perspective of Liberia?
Well, I will give it later on, but I want it to what I'm going to say to connect with what Dr. Gompo just said.
Okay.
I don't want to be all over the place. Dr. Gompo, you were in a race, and at one point on this same show, I said that Chiawan Gongro was in a race, and you were going to divide the Niba vote. And fortunately or unfortunately, Joe Boakai brought Kun in the race, which means further the division of the Niba vote. Uh, does any of these uh, were the reason was the reason why you withdraw from the race?
No, no. I don't think it's because of the disposition of the NIMBA votes or the number of NIMBA citizens that were in the race that influenced my decision. My decision was mainly influenced by my own observations and my engagement with citizens across the country with respect to their expectations, especially about money and resources to be devoted to the elections, and also my own partisans, a lot of disagreements on how the campaign should be approached. And then the amount of time to reorganize the campaign to give me the kind of victory that I deserve. So a number of different variables were considered, but none of them had to do with where I come from and who else from my county is in the race. Because in my view, the key determinant of who wins the vote is mainly determined by the vision that one brings to the table and your ability to sell the vision and to be able to reach Liberians and get them to agree with you. So although the county groupings are important, I do not think that they're going to be that significant, except in a situation where you're looking at a broad historical divide in terms of the indigenous versus the settlers kind of mentality, which I think still exists.
That a couple, did you get nominated and certificated at the election commission before your withdrawal?
No,
Okay.
and it's because we did all of the paperwork for submission, but then the discussions were continuing as to whether we were convinced that we can win this election. And the way the election commission rules are set up, once you get certificated, even if you decide that you will not be able to go forward, you will remain on that ballot.
Right.
And then there are laws too that says that if you go in the election and you do not win something like I think 2% or so, your party will be suspended for 2 election cycles. That is a law that is on their books, even though they're not really implementing it, but it's part of the election law according to what I've learned. But yeah, so those are some of the consideration. We want to run and win.
So the decision your party executive committee, I'm wondering whether it was a unilateral decision by you and your family, or the executive committee of your party took a decision to withdraw from the race.
The family member was consulted, and then the final decision was made by the executive committee. The executive committee meeting where the situation regarding how this campaign was going to be successful were put on the table in terms of whether we should go forward with the campaign in light of all of the constraints and the circumstances, or whether we should suspend the campaign and prepare and build up the party for 2029. So those options were put on the table at the executive committee meeting, and there were debates, and we reached a consensus on it.
Mr. Nomor.
Oh yeah, Dr. Gompo, there's a tendency in Liberia where everybody expects the presidential candidate or legislative candidate to finance the whole election from their pocket. And I feel that this is wrong, and it opened the room for corruption if those candidates are elected. Was this one of the reasons why you left the race?
Well, I think I agree with you that the whole idea of putting money as a primary factor in determining who can run or who can be considered as a viable candidate, I think it's not good for our country. And we discussed and debated those issues. And my position is that the desire to serve and the ability to serve is not determined by one's financial wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have a very rich person who is not compassionate, who does not understand policy, and does not know how to serve people. and you can have vice versa. You can have a person who's not so wealthy who is prepared to be a good leader and have all the qualities of good leadership. So we discussed those issues, and people kept telling me that no, the Liberian culture is as such that it doesn't work that way. And my position was that we have to change it. There's so many aspects of Liberian culture or the Liberian way which causes the problems in the country. So it's time for us to stand up. And I was prepared to go through it and take the case to the voters and try to convince them. But then there were other people who said, no, it's not, they're not even going to listen, it's not going to work, and so forth. So I agree with you that this, the issue of putting so much emphasis on money and wealth really contributes to the problem of corruption in the country. Many of the legislative candidates, and as we speak, my party has 5 legislative candidates in the race that we are working to help to be successful. And that is an issue for many of the legislative candidates. Some of them, not people in my party, but some other legislative candidates told me that they took big loans on their employment. They took big loans on their property, on their farm, on their houses, in order to finance and in order to meet the requirements, the financial requirements to run. And so making that connection to what happens if they win, they're going to be seriously concerned about how they pay off those loans. And then they become inclined to really just struggle to make money. And that can cause corruption. So I think I agree with you on that point.
Thank you.
The concern I will have too is since you have withdrawn from the race, you and your party, are you guys supporting any political party? Are you supporting the CDC, the United Party, the ANC, or the Congo, party, or whatever? Are you to reach any decision?
No,
Or
we have
everybody
not.
go their own way?
We have not reached a decision. We have considered some of the candidates, but at the same time, the field of candidates are so many. There are 20 candidates in the race.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it would not be a good idea to endorse any one candidate because that person is well known or because people say that person is more popular. To me, that would not be fair. To make a decision like that, one has to take the time to assess each of the candidates in the race, look at their platform, and see how their vision coincides with ours. And also, given that we have candidates in the race for the House of Representatives in 5 legislative districts, we do not think that it is strategic to endorse any other political party or any other candidate now in the first round because we have candidates that are going up against their candidates. So if we go and say endorse Unity Party in the first round, then what does that say in the district where we have ADML candidate running against Unity Party candidate? And now we have already gone forward and endorsed Unity Party or endorsed CDC or ANC.
Well, I would think it doesn't matter because every candidate that you have put forth in a particular electoral district or in a county, as per the Senate, that person should be elected on the basis of their credit, who they are. So the Unity Party will expect you probably, or the CDC would expect you, or the smaller political parties. In fact, I believe that there will be lobby ongoing right now as to try to grab some of these smaller parties that will help to support some of these political parties. So if you don't make a political pronouncement, it will seems to maybe each party that you are not a stakeholder.
Well, I think I disagree with you, Jensen.
Okay.
Oh, Dr. Gompo's candidates are in the party's candidates are in the race. So if he comes up and said, I endorse Unity Party or ANC or LPP, that will weaken the candidate. And I feel that the question needs to be rephrased that when there is a second round between an opposition candidate and CDC candidate, which side you will fall on? That's my input. So, Dr. Gompo, I'm asking you a question now. If the second round is between any opposition candidate and CDC, which side will your party fall on?
That's a good question. Forward to the second round, and at that time, we will look at the person or the persons who would be in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
To just make sure you are fair, because again, as we said, there are 20 candidates in the race.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it would be fair, given that I'm opposed to CDC, to just assume that anything opposition is better than CDC.
That means
I think right. So I think that would be too. That would be too. Maybe it would be over the top.
Okay, but that means there's possibility that you could go with CDC because you know all the opposition candidates in the race, and you know their platforms, you know what they stand for, and you know the terror. Hold on, the terror that we are going through under the CDC government, and yesterday as an former opposition political or presidential candidate, you have not decided yet.
Well, Mr. Number, before you come in, if the mayor has said he has 5 candidates, right, and you bought that theory that because these candidates, anybody could vote for them. So why you want him to make a statement now suggesting whether for CDC or opposition come second round? When the very maybe some of the CDC partisans could likely vote for his candidate. If the theory that was put forth and you supported that, I don't think there should be a question.
No. In the second round, his candidates will be out of the picture.
Yeah, boy, to make pronouncement right now.
They will be voted for or voted against.
Mr. Number, if you want to make pronouncement right now, why you think that pronouncement will not affect his candidates?
It will not affect them because it's after the fact. In the first round, the decision will be made for his candidates.
Okay.
In the second round, if he has senatorial candidate, they would have been voted against or voted for. If he have representative candidates, they would have been voted for or voted against. So they will not be in the picture. The picture now is the opposition and the CDC. I mean, if it happened that way. So, if I was saying if 2 opposition candidates are in the second round, but I'm talking about 1 opposition candidate and the current government candidate in the second round, which way he will go, knowing the record of the current government.
Okay, so basically, the decision as to which direction to go, especially as an institution, has to be discussed within the party and and then debated. All the pros and cons are put on the table and so forth. So the statement you made that I know all of the opposition candidates is incorrect. I don't know all of them. I don't know all the opposition. There are 20 in the race, and I'm still trying to get to know some of these people through some of their profile and what have you. There are 20 of them, and to go through their platform and all of that. So I don't know all of them. I know a few of them, but I don't know all of them. So unless we get through the entire list, it's hard to sit here and say which direction I'm going to go in the second round. So I think it will be a good thing to wait until we get to that place, which I think is very likely, if the election is fair, that there will be a second round.
Okay. Is it fair to ask you to name the few of them that you know? And besides that, at the time you left Liberia, what was the ranking, with number one being the top position, the opposition candidate now? No, who was in number one position, number two, number three, and number two, with number one being the top position? I'm talking about the opposition candidates, because that will narrow your decision down, and tell us if those top four, one of them go for the second round, if you have problem voting for them or your party voting for them as compared to CDC.
Well, Mr. Numa, Mr. Numa, I think with all fairness, he has said his party will discuss all of the pros and cons. So to pin him down to make a decision, I think.
Please let that he started. Let Dr. Gompu answer the question.
But we have other issues to be discussed.
He can fire his own battle.
Yeah, I think there are no scientific polling going on in Liberia from what I've seen. They have these journalists saying they're doing polling. The polling is people calling in. Is not the researcher or the pollster calling people randomly. So the polling is not scientific at all. And any kind of assessment to say this person is number one, this person number two, and so forth, I think is highly subjective. But when you go across the country and talk to different groups of voters on the basis of likability, I would say that GNB is highly likable among the
opposition candidates.
Yeah, among the voters, among the people that are met, ordinary Liberian citizens, intellectuals, and whatsoever. He seems to have very high likability ratings, and I think some of it could be maybe the age factor is working for him, and maybe the longevity in government may be working for him, because most of these people who are tending to like him, it seems like they do not really know him in any way. They don't know anything about his policy, they don't know anything about his vision. But what in the media has been his negative seem to be contributing to his likability factor. I mean, that's just my personal view. But I've not really seen any scientific ranking of these candidates in the opposition per se.
I think that's why Mr. Numa wanted to hear. But
I want to add to his his
No.
because
Mr. Numo,
when JMB went to chicken soup factory, the people
Mr.
were
Numo,
apologizing to him.
this is
Say we
not.
sorry we didn't vote for you. No, we were fooled in 2017.
Mr. Nomo, that's something that's the trend of the discussion. He has answered your question, even though
Okay.
he did not say it like you wanted to hear him to say, well, at a
No,
second round, GMB, he's going to go GMB way. That's not what he's saying here.
no.
He gave you his view as to
Yes.
GMB, why he thinks he could likely be
Okay.
the choice of the
I
people.
accept his explanation or his response. Let's move on.
Because that's a political take, right?
No.
But
Let's move on with your question.
Yeah. So we will discuss JNB and the United Party subsequently. But the issue that you spoke about the media, how do you see the media? Saying you were on the ground, do you see the media as people who can take an independent position for a sole reason? As something went wrong in Liberia, the media is the institution that should be looked up to as to writing or speaking the truth on electoral events. How do you see them? Do you think they're better positioned to help buttress Liberia to get a free, fair, transparent elections?
I think the media is weakening, but that's the only institution we have in the fourth, how you call it, the fourth estate. So
Right.
it's there. But firstly, poverty, it contributes to the problem because the radios and television is not available all across the country, and only people of a certain class have access to various media opportunity. When you look at the newspapers, the number of papers sold in the country is very, very limited. Even finding papers in Liberia, finding newspapers is a struggle if you're not out there very early in the morning. By 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you can't find paper. You want to find paper, you have to go all the way to the Ministry of Education to find newspaper. So the population does not really care about it. Radio is one of the key areas that many citizens rely on for information. But again, the radio coverage is kind of spotty in the sense that very few stations are covering most of the country. So that's another problem. People do not have much confidence in the government station because, again, the problem of corruption and deceit and misleading information has turned so many people away from ELBC and some of the other government media entities. And the media is also corrupted in the sense that most of the stations will not cover anything, unless they are paid. So that's a problem. To really reveal the truth, I think the media is challenged in terms of resources. Almost everything has to be paid for. So so that's another problem. So in light of that, I don't think that the media is really in a position to be that institution that the population relies on for the truth. I think the media would need more resources, more training, and more citizen involvement to ensure that they do what they're supposed to be doing.
Wow. Mr. Nomo, you have anything about the media? Do you have any perspective since you?
Yes. I feel that the media in Liberia they do not know why that institution is called the Fourth Estate. And in this year, last year, I give credit to some of the people who are online that people now began to call the Fifth Estate. I give them credit. Liberia media, they are corrupt, they are ignorant, and they are not competent.
I think you guys.
Hold on.
Yeah, but let me just say something quickly.
I was in Liberia for 6-7 years. I observed the media, so I know what I'm talking about. If you want me to point out some events, yes, I can do it.
But that's not the issue right now, Mr.
Media, most of the media institutions in Liberia, and that is still going on. Even the Liberian journalists here in the U.S. Didn't they bring what her name? McGill here. What did McGill do? No, none of the journalists. The journalists took what name Koji to River G. It was the Eula that brought McGill here.
So, yeah, but the issue,
those things are still on our minds, and on the ground. If you don't give them money, they will not publish what they're supposed to publish.
Mr. Number, the issue is
give them money. If candidate does not give them money, they will not write any good thing about that candidate. Is that not corruption?
Mr. Number, let me say this. The media, there are a few things you say here. The media, I can say for fact, I believe they know why they are called the Fourth Estate. I also can say, no, just a minute. I can also believe that there are problems, like Dr. Gopu said, there are challenges, but there are some politicians who also want to rely on the media, want the media to publish everything that they say. And sometimes it doesn't work that way. All right. On the issue of taking money or here, there, yonder, I wouldn't support that. But there are also whether politicians themselves understand what information can be paid for and what should be information that can just be public and they can publish free without you giving them money. If you're running a campaign and you go into a certain electoral district to run a campaign, you want a media team to go with you there, you have to pay them. You have to facilitate their going there. That's different. If that's what is being considered as corrupt, I would disagree with you on that.
That is not what I'm talking about, and that is not what Dr. Gompu was talking about.
Okay. So generally, I'm telling you, there may be some
even here in the United States. If Joe Biden is going to a place and CNN decide to go there, CNN would not request money from the Biden.
No, you're talking about.
I'm telling you the truth.
This is a developed, Mr. Numo. CNN can go there. CNN can decide to find the news. That's one thing you should understand. When CNN going on like Joe Biden going, so CNN decide to go. In fact, they will look at the magnitude of the visit.
Okay.
Like Joe Biden's going to be going to Florida, I think either today, right? If he's going there, CNN want to go there, they might either send their correspondent there. If the correspondent goes there, they see the news, they know what they're going to publish. If they feel nothing is there that is new rotted, they're not going to publish it.
They will not publish it.
Right. So for you now, yeah, the issue of paying people, if you want a special arrangement, if you're going to, like, for example, that are going to Nima County, there are, as you said, there are 20 candidates in the race. Maybe Joe, we are going to Mount Gibby. All right, Joe, we are as per permanence, he is the president of Liberia, whether we like it or not. So if Dr. Gopu is going somewhere and Joe, we are going somewhere, a media institution can make a decision whether they have the means to send somebody there. But Dr. Gopu himself will say, well, I need publicity for this. He can decide to say, well, among all the media institutions, I will carry the newspaper, or I will talk to the analyst, or I will talk to front page, and I can facilitate them. Carrying a journalist to your program does not necessarily mean that he's going to report what you want him to report. You may make news, and the journalist can decide to write the news. So what I'm saying generally is sometimes there are generally, you blanket everybody to be corrupt. Not all the journalists in Liberia I consider corrupt, and that's the issue here. So to come on this platform and say, well, all journalists in Liberia are corrupt, those are hasty generalization. I don't think we should be saying that.
Oh, I say most of them. And the other time I asked you to name 5 journalists in Liberia who are not corrupt, and you could not do that.
Mr. Numo, I can tell you front page has a credible record in that place.
Front page is corrupt.
Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. Let me say it. Front page is reporting. Okay. Front page, the news, the analyst.
The analyst corrupt. Most of them, they are corrupt.
Again, that's why it is.
You know what I saw at GAC putting a flyer or writing about something, and these people will go and publish that information in their papers and then come to GAC for GAC to pay them. I objected to that. Is that not corruption?
Mr. Numo, let's go on our agenda.
But
I mean, it's not a voting
issue. The lawyer issue, no, you come to me. No,
that's not just it. No, but you cannot generally, right now, Liberia, whether you like it or not, before you get information out of there, you depend on the media, right? There are publications every day. We get newspaper publication every day. When I see certain story I know is biased, I can recognize it, and I can say without fear or favor for any media institution. All right. I'm not saying here that we don't have problem. There are challenges facing the media that Ogopo said it rightly, right? But to journalists just think that the media in Liberia, there's no need, there's nothing good that can come out of there. I wouldn't say that and buy that from you. But let's go to our next.
Let's move on to something else.
That Ogopo Miller, we are focusing on you because you just came from Liberia. Everybody is saying election will not. I mean, many political parties. I listen to ANC, I listen to UP, I listen to the CDC, and the LP. No, LP. I not say that, but the 3 political parties, everybody believing that they can win on the first round. For me personally, to win on the first round, you must have a little more than 1.2 million of votes. Do you think first round election is possible for any of the candidates? From your reading, I know, as you said, there's no scientific, survey going on, right. But you're looking at the political campaign, and you probably can have a sense of what it's like.
Yeah, I think that I very strongly expect no candidate to win in the first round in light of the way things are.
Okay.
I mean, that is expectations. But all of them are saying that they're going to win in the first round. So it's good to be ambitious. Mm-hmm. And some of those first round victories are all, in my view, ambition. But I think realistically and even statistically, it's difficult to see how any candidate wins the first round, because to win the first round, you need more than 50% of the vote.
Right.
And if we just take a conservative estimate to say, on average, let's give 3% on average to each of the 20 candidates, which would not be, the actual data point, but on average. You give 3% to each candidate. So that means 60% of the vote is already gone. Because 20 candidates in the race. Right. So 60% of the vote is already gone. And the other 40% you divide it among the leading candidates. There's no way any of them can reach 50%. You see?
I would agree with you. Judge, what do you think? You think the UP or the CDC
I think the UP will win in the first round, and the CDC. I look at the document here where they project that they will win 50.1%. And they are saying they're going to win 80% in Grand Jada and Grand Cru. They're going to win 80% in Sano. I think that does not make sense. I believe, and I'm from Maryland, where CDC won 47% in 2017, and the balance 53% went to the opposition. And in fact, that time they were in opposition. That went to the rest of the people, but now they are claiming that they will win 53% and give the rest to the opposition. I think that is not true. I feel that Joseph Boakai will win in the first round. Thank you.
But I think
the Electoral Commission said they don't have money. They don't have money for the second round.
Okay, let me ask a question.
Yes.
If on your projection there,
Mm-hmm.
so what percentage would you giving to Joseph Boakai, and then what percent would you give to the other parties in order to win in the first round?
Okay. You are not talking about a CDC projection, right?
No,
I'm talking about your projection. Your projection.
My projection.
Party won the first round.
I feel that Unity Party will win 52%.
Okay.
52%. Unity Party will win.
Right.
And these projections are given like Grand Jada County, 80%. No, that will not happen. Grand Cru, the last election, we are Canada did not win in Grand Cru.
So if Unity Party is giving them 52%, then how are you dividing the other 48% of the vote?
Well, I do not want to divide it now.
Okay.
Maybe when we get closer to the election,
that's just ambitious.
When we get closer to the election, I would tell you, what percent we will get, what percent Tier 1 Gonglo will get, what percent Commerce will get, what percent.
Mr. Numo, your ambition is not realistic, all right? And I'm glad the way it's being put. If you look at Nima County, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Nima County votes. Tier 1 for Nima, he's a popular person.
Okay.
The Unity Party, by extension of Prince Johnson and Kuhn, they're going to get vote from there. You're not going to tell me CDC not going to get vote from there. CDC going to get vote from there. So by that alone, the vote for Nima County, very likely, if you look at every factor that is interplaying over there, Prince Johnson has been one of the forceful person in that place. But Tier 1 is also a very forceful person in Nima. Maybe this one that a couple can tell more about that. All right. So if we were to take the figure of Nima County, the percentage that will come from there may not be negligible to the point where we affect the overall percentage of the county. The vote in Liberia when I think about 2 million plus, 2.4 or 2.5 million plus. All right. And 50% plus 1 is about 1.2 plus million persons. Now, if you take Nima that has the largest vote, if for example Gongo was not in the race, okay, right. But let's look at Nima per se. If Gongo was not in the race and it was only CDC and the UP, maybe your calculation would have come closer. But with Gongo being in the race, you're going to take a huge percentage from Nima. Now, if you look at Muscle Rider is
Are
an
you
anybody game.
are you
All right?
saying are you saying the election is only Monserrato and Nimba?
That's what I'm saying. But these are the places that have
Tiawon
large,
Gongo is from Nimba. And I
right,
think there's another candidate who is from Nimba.
right,
And Cummings has Nimba link.
right.
And Joe Boaka will win majority of the votes as compared to the other candidates
Now, those are
during
things.
the
I'm
election.
glad that you even calling those other candidates. That just suggests that whatever percentage, that's what I'm talking, the overall percent that you will get from Nima, that should have buttressed you for the over to get the huge percentage of the total. You're not going to get that. So if you
Okay.
go to most of our country,
Tell us what percentage will Cummings get, what percentage will Tiawon get in Nimba.
no, I will agree. I don't have percent,
No,
but
you are asking me about
I will
percentage.
agree with
Tell
Gombo.
me.
I will agree with Gopu that no one person can get 50% plus one. I have said that over and over, and the factors are there.
Okay.
Big crowd movement you're looking at around here. If you put 10,000 person in a place, you will see it in the common man's eyes. You will think that million person standing there, but that's not true. So if that's why you're calculating right now, you're getting it wrong.
And
I'm not getting it wrong.
also, let me say
Yes.
this.
Go ahead.
Let me say this, that Unity Party should also be careful, because there is also a complacency factor which destroyed DNB campaign in 2017.
Right.
The feeling that, we already got this thing, and therefore complacency can lead people to campaign less because they already have it. Then some level of arrogance start growing because people start behaving like they're already in power now. And Joe Boaka also has the tendency to peak early. Okay? Because we know what happened in 2017. You see? So we should be very careful here in making predictions. We should be very careful in making predictions about, the outcome of the election. I think we can talk about, if the election were held today, how things would look. But from now to the election, so many things could happen. And if you are supporting GNB and you're sounding so confident, that kind of confidence can lead to, but we already got this thing.
Right.
And
not only that, electoral violence, we all should guard ourselves against it. Because if you portray that GMB going to win on first round, and in reality, let's say the opposite happened, right? George will win on first round. GMB force going to get in the street, and there will be chaos. People will not be looking at, let's look at the tally. People will be concerned about, we should have won. The common man don't get time for the kind of figure calling it.
Jensen, what the Unity Party is calling for now, if they do it, there will not be violence. There will not be people going into the street. They want from district by district. The result must be announced district by district. People Sorokan district. The number of people voted for Joe Boaka. This number of people voted for Weir. This number of people voted for Cummings. This number of people voted for Tiawon Gongo and Moniba. If they do it like that, but what they usually do is to make bulk announcement, and that make room for cheating. So they need to, and they have the total number of voters per district. If they do it that way, I feel that there will be no violence.
The people get provisional results, right? And you yourself should have poll watchers that will feed you with the data or the tally. So, but do not live with this kind of ambition that you're having right now.
Jensen, you are young. You are a young man.
So
I took part in the 1985 election where Jackson F. Doe overwhelmingly won Maryland County. and I was the Liberia Action Party pool washer at the at the Harper administration building. 2 weeks later, when they announced the result, Samuel Doe overwhelmingly defeated Jackson Doe in Maryland County.
Mr.
You don't
2 weeks before election result. This is a new age of technology. Make sure
technology. We are not having no biometric election.
That's not the issue, Mr. Nomo, but everybody will collect the data, right?
It's the same election we had those days.
No, Mr. Nomo, by the time it took for election result, I'm very sure this one not going to be that way, right?
Okay.
Even your poll watchers, let's assume you had poll watchers to every polling center. You yourself should know the figure before even it is announced. But that's not what people are going to do. They're going to sit down and want to rely on the election commission.
No. I mean, I can't tell you our strategy now. We have modern technology strategy. So let's move on to something else.
All right.
I'm telling you.
What extra will you do without putting polling centers, poll workers at the very polling centers? What other technology can you use? You need human beings.
No, I can't tell you.
But you can't do nothing. You're not going to put drone to go collect information. It's not possible.
Forget it, Jensen. Forget it.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, Jensen, are you disagreeing with the proposal that a election result should be announced district by district or precinct by precinct?
No. The best way forward is for the National Election Commission to be open and listen to politicians or candidates. So in these kind of discussions, I believe that even the Election Commission, I don't know whether that is happening with you people, but I believe that the Election Commission is having, if not day-to-day, but having meetings with political parties as to these proposals that will come forth. So election result is always announced at the Election Commission is not going to stand on the podium to announce district by district. But there will be a tally.
What's wrong with that? You got 73 districts.
You can do that, but I'm talking about election result. The tally will be there. It should be available to every political party, right? Mm-hmm. Why if you that a group, you and your party had a tally sheet in your hand with all of the votes that came in, right? And the election commission stood on the podium and announced the final result of the elections. All the political parties have the election result tally sheets within their position.
Yeah, but remember the election commission has the bullet pulpit when it comes to these announcements.
Right.
Okay, we just talk about the media and the cost of media in Liberia. So if ADML has all the correct information, you cannot assemble the kind of press conference with all the media represented to make your announcement in the same way how the election commission financed by all of us. When they call a press conference, you have everybody, all the media put there because they're going to get paid, right? Because they work on government budget. So if the election commission is announcing something different and I'm announcing something different, then there's again room for more chaos.
I agree.
So I think that if the idea comes in that let's disaggregate the data, look at it district by district, precinct by precinct. That's more transparency. That's not less. So even if it would take you 3 hours to go through the 73 districts and say in this district, this happened, that happened, what's wrong with that? I mean, you can still do that and still aggregate the data and say, okay, in this county, this happened. Or in this region, you can do it by region, you can do it by county, and you can do it by district as well. And you can do it by precincts. That would make it more transparent.
We have 20 political parties. I mean, for me, I'm open to transparent process. And so I believe whatever that would be transparent for the election commission, for Liberian people, that what should be good. But anything that will happen, for example, right?
One of the problems that's going on, they're not even talking about transparency. They're talking more about peace. They just say, everybody should commit to peace. There should be peace. There should always
I don't support that. Sometimes we stay right here, we tell people our mind. Even when ECOWAS system men came from ECOWAS, they come in asking legislators to sign peace agreement, all of this thing. I didn't buy into that. I felt like Liberia is not at war. And legislators are the highest decision makers in terms of the first branch and the people's power. So when you sign an agreement, when legislators sign an agreement, who is there to ensure the implementation of that agreement? That means you're going outside of the constitutional norms of governance. That's something I didn't buy into, because these things are all can lead to mismanagement of the electoral process. But how be it, the question that Mr. Nomo cannot clearly address here is the UP winning on first ballot. I think that would drag us all the way to this point.
I told you, UP will win first ballot.
UP cannot win on first ballot, and you have no.
And here you, some people are saying, "Oh, you are a sedition." Here are you.
Who's that sedition?
Here you are, objecting to counting.
No. I did not say that to you.
Counting the vote district by district.
No, you're not understanding the backdrop. We don't have the time here. Let's say for this, let me add some emphasis on that. Let's say, for example, 20 candidates in Maryland County, district by district. The election commission is announcing election result. The 20 candidates in Maryland County to announce district by district and maybe what we call county. District by district. 20 candidates get an election result. Move to another county, district by district. Get an election announced. Move to another county. I mean, imagine it. All right. And I think the transparency you're asking for, there are many other ways you can do transparency. But if that is the way to go about it, and I oppose no objection. All right. But think about the candidates and think about the different electoral district, the different candidates in the race, and think about announcing those results district by district. If that is the way that people want it.
There are 73 districts.
Okay. So then 73 districts multiplied by 20. That's how much?
Well,
so that's a lot. That's a lot, right?
So what does that mean? So what does that mean? The thing is,
it means that the politicians
the data is coming in a computer. It's not manual calculation, right? It's coming in the computer. You can.
That's a questionable issue too.
Huh?
Is it coming by? Is it coming by computer or coming by those electoral workers?
They're submitting it. No, they're submitting it to the election commission. The election commission will put it into, a spreadsheet, and then the spreadsheet would do the aggregation.
Well, that's a lot going on there. I mean, the whole
compile it and give it to everybody. The parties. The journalists that go there, they break.
That's what I said. That's what I said from the onset. You political parties get the tally sheet or the result, and the election commission is not going to announce anything different from what they
that you don't have the time. If you don't have the time, you can do it that way. But election commission is not saying it that it is difficult. It is an arduous task. It is James Johnson that is saying it here.
No. I'm saying that because political parties themselves are not saying what it needs to be said. What needs to be said.
I think one of the political parties have proposed it. One of the political parties have proposed it, and I think the media needs to examine it in the way we're doing it now. If the media has its voice, and the citizens start getting aware and they add their voice, the election commission will be under pressure to do what people want, because they're working for us. We're paying them. It's our resources. The different political parties, so many of the political parties are at disadvantage when it comes to being at each and every one of those polling stations, because it costs money to pay for poll watchers. And if you have more money to pay your pool watchers more in a very corrupt place, you know what's going to happen.
But the issue is that, I mean, the last time I saw the unique situation where political parties, I think they signed some agreement, and I saw a picture where they all agree that they were going to protect voters' vote, which sounded good to me. But I was looking at where there was behind the same discussions, like some of the things you're talking about right now. Political parties should be more concerned about some of these issues that you are raising, right? It's not about the media can do a part, but the media is not the one going into the discussions and raising those issues. You, the politicians or the political parties that are participating in the election, it should be a concern, and that it should be a consolidated discussion. If not weekly, you have 1 month of election. And people are still discussing these things and even don't have a clear idea as to how election will be announced. The Election Commission has a platform. If you want to go against that, or you want to ask the Election Commission how they're going to do it, it's the time to do that. But if you want to wait until whatever happened before you start crying foul, it's not going to work. Because no more than thinking about JB will win, JMB will win. That's all they're going to be saying around here. And they don't even have no plan to see how they're going to work out these things. He said here he's raising issues that he doesn't have a clear-cut answer. It suggests that JMB strategy is not even discussing how election results will be announced.
You the one who do not have any plan. You are the one who is like a pendulum. No, do not have any direction. A direction.
I'm not taking part in the election. I'm not taking part in the election.
There you go. I'm telling you the plan. I'm telling you what United Party has proposed.
No, you haven't said anything.
Strategic plan. I cannot tell you what the strategy the United Party is using, because you will pick it up and take it to comments and take it to whoever you want to take it
so
to.
What you want to say?
So what I want to say is what the United Party has already disclosed. That vote counting should be done by district, announcement, district by district. Okay, and you are saying that it is not possible.
I already a press statement on that. I already something on that. You are quoting United Party of saying they want election result to be announced district by district. That's their position, right?
Okay, and you disagree?
No, I don't say I disagree. I didn't say that. I want to tell you some factors that surround that.
If you didn't disagree, why did Dr. Gompo ask you?
That the Gompo asked, and I make it explicit, and I just told you some of the constraints surrounding those situations. And I said to you, I have no objection. Anything that would make Liberia election to be transparent, I support that.
Okay, then let's move on.
Okay, so let's look at the issue of financial spending, the spending powers of political parties. The Constitution prohibits political parties from getting foreign sources into elections. How is the CDC in particular funding her election? Are they using state resources? Are you people as political parties concerned about that? Or do you think, CDC is using contribution from her partisans? Are they using that private money, or are they using state resources? That's one aspect. On the part of other political parties, the Cummins, the Gonglo, the rest of the United Party, what are the sources of funding? Are they running around to obligate Liberia, go to Nigeria, or go to other places and sign some memorandum of understanding so that when I win election, this is what I'm going to do? What is the spending power like? How do you people look at this thing? It's an important issue. The Constitution speaks about it. So what do people think? That the couple would look like you because you wanted the even though you were withdrawn.
Huh?
I said, even though you are withdrawn, but
let me speak about my own experience.
Okay.
And then connect it to others.
Right.
Our funding was coming through appeal to Liberians to make donations. So we got small donations from ordinary people. Some people can appeal to business institutions to make donations. Yes, I agree with you. There is prohibition against foreign contributions, foreign financial contributions to political campaigns in Liberia.
Right.
And it's only allowed if the foreign sources are Liberians. So people can appeal to citizens in the diaspora, citizen-owned businesses in the diaspora, and so forth. I don't know how other people are financing this, but from my own observation, it looks like the Election Commission is not vigorously enforcing that rule, or is not vigorously providing an oversight to ensure that that law is obeyed. Because I'm not aware of any kind of tracking or reporting,
right,
on the political parties with respect to their campaign spending and the sources of funds. We saw recent documents that some of the social media published saying that CDC had a budget of about 50 million, and that budget was being debated. And they even spoke about 10 million already being spent. And that was published, I think, on Henry Costa's site or something like that.
Right.
So with that kind of figure, you wonder whether this is money really coming from.
Well, yeah, where the money coming from?
Right. Whether this is money, if it is, I don't know whether it's a budget or it's an amount that has already been collected. Then you wonder whether this money is really coming from partisans' donations and citizens' donations. So it is a concern, and it's hard to answer precisely where those candidates are getting their money from.
That's a good point. I'll come back to you. I have few concerns on that, but let me hear from George Numo.
Yes, I have concern about that. I chair the John Moluk committee.
Okay.
And we are soliciting donations from all Liberians. And I will send you, Jensen, and Dr. Gompu the link for you people to donate. We have
all American citizen Liberians
here.
Okay.
If you are American citizen, you are Liberian based on the recent law they passed.
Okay.
And we are not like other candidates or other people who come here, raise money, and buy resorts. And we will investigate.
Okay.
When we come to power, campaign financing.
Right.
Will be one of the areas.
Okay.
We have mobile money account.
A specialized committee will be set up.
We have mobile
money. Investigate even the UP.
Hold on, let me talk now. We have mobile money account so that Liberians on the ground will send their $5 Liberian, $2 Liberian, and that's what we are working on. But we are got millions of dollars from Russia. The information.
How do you know? That's our allegation.
The information is on the internet. I'm not talking about this election now.
Okay.
In 2017.
All right.
The information is on the internet.
Okay.
Nobody said anything.
No, I thought you were talking about this election. That one, maybe when you come to power, you'll investigate the previous election and this election.
Yes, everything. We'll investigate it too. And we'll investigate some people like who try to be like a sedition. So that's what I feel about it. In the US, if Joe Biden is going to campaign and he used the Air Force One, he paid for it. His party paid for it.
Okay.
The security that go with him, his party paid for that. But people using vehicles, government vehicles, to run campaign, even neck pickup was helping to put a billboard for George Weah up.
But these are the things, Mr. Numa. Mr. Numa, I'm cutting you off. Those are good information, right?
These are the things.
Mr. Numa.
These are the things we need to. Let me learn. These are the things we need to investigate. Thank you.
But Mr. Numa, those are good electoral issues that you are raising, right? Have you, as an advisor, or I don't know your position within the United Party, advised the party so that the party will consult other candidates or other political parties that are participating in the election?
Okay.
To come with a voice.
Let me cut you off. I'm not member of Unity Party. I'm member of Liberia's People's Party. I joined.
Even though you're not supporting,
the party that I've ever joined in my life.
But even though you're not supporting your candidate, they need to expel you from that party, right?
Oh no, they don't. We have Reagan Democrats. We have Obama Republicans.
But you're supporting Unity Party against your party.
But that's why I'm telling you, Reagan was not a Democrat. Obama was not a Republican.
Okay, I think that we'll leave that with your party to make a decision. But the
Yeah,
issue here is, yeah, the issue here is, and there's a serious matter, campaign funding, because that disadvantage other political parties. Particularly so for George Weah, if they are using $50 million, $50 million, that's not small money. All right, that's not small money. So political parties should be concerned about these things. And if all of the political parties have had even a meeting to discuss campaign funding and came up with a resolution, then the media would have, had a wider discussion. So, but without political parties that have, vested interest as to wanting to win this election, they're all quiet. The media, going to say, okay, you know what, we see George Weah say he's spending $50 million. Can the media go to court? No. The law is there. Like John Numo said, last election, CDC got money from Russia. The election commission, are they concerned? Maybe like even the $50 million, the election commission would have asked more questions if they were concerned a resolution and that resolution was even submitted to the election commission.
Yep.
But those things are not happening. It means everybody is, concerned about themselves, and then the problem remains. But Dr. Gopu, do you think, say your party is still in the race, your candidates, I'm believing that people are struggling to support your legislative candidates. Are you concerned about the leverage that the CDC is having? And if so, do you intend to take action as a party? Maybe other people not doing it. Do you intend to take any action?
Yes, we are holding some discussions as to what is the appropriate way to proceed. But I think that to avoid the free rider effect, political parties maybe need to come together to
Right.
look at some of these discrepancies, as it may be. Even the use of public assets
Right.
for the advancement of the political interests of particular political parties. I think that's an area to look at. If you go to Monrovia today, on Topman Boulevard, from City Hall all the way to ELWA Junction, every light pole, every pole transmitting electricity has huge photos of George Weah on them and his running mate. If you look at it technically, is the use of public asset.
But are they deny other political parties from using the same light poles?
Well, you don't see any other political parties having their campaign material on there.
But there has been no incident reported that other party went to post, because I'm looking at that's I don't think that's a unique situation.
But is it appropriate, even if other parties have not been denied, is it appropriate to use public asset for personal political purposes?
Well, I think my experience will point to these things over the years, that not just political parties, but even people who running small programs or something, they've been using these polls. They go there and post their flyers and other stuff, So I think there's a bigger picture. I wouldn't say they are right, but maybe they probably denying other people, bringing other poll flyers down. That's a serious issue if that was reported, But I think
so you think it's appropriate for people to use public asset for personal?
No, I don't support that. Public asset, I would look at it differently. Like, for example, government has vehicles, all right? If those vehicles are being used to run campaign, those are serious matters.
But how
Government
does that?
has resources. If government resources being used to run political campaign, those are serious concern. And there might be, what I'm saying to you, there are bigger pictures that people can go after. But if you raise something that a light pole, I would want to think about, and that would give, even let's say a certain judge making decision, light pole Okay, they ask you the question. Do you think people who having religious, program have ever used these poles and placed a placard on it?
No, we're
I'm
not talking
sure.
about ever using it though.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, the way it is done, okay, is appearing as if this is a government sanctioned activity. You see,
Okay.
because again, the public owns LEC. LEC has these posts. Those appointments there are made by the president. The ruling party is using each and every one of these posts. So, what does it make it appear like? So, I mean, it's like, I think there's a gray area there when you use public resources in this way. In my view, using government car to go campaign for a political party is not that different from dominating the entire LEC asset like that
Okay.
for a single political party.
Well, I think you both have all of the right, like you said, to look at these things holistically and probably come up with a position. We're only looking at it from from the discussion point, but we think
Well,
you guys, as political parties, can really come down and be able to take decisions on some of those issues.
I have a question to ask, Jensen.
Yeah. Mhm.
You are part of the media. Some of these things we are talking about, have you raised these things, whether with your CDC or ANC party, or in your presentation? And the second one is that you have been in America here for some time.
Mhm.
When have you seen Obama billboard on a light pole, Biden billboard, Trump billboard on a light pole? You do not see that. So no, you can't be in Liberia and think like you are stay in. You can't be in America and think like you are stay in Liberia because you want to push a line for CDC.
No, Mr. Numbo,
That
I think you're getting it wrong, right? And let me be clear here. I have said it over and over, and I will say for because just to clarify your point,
okay.
I have said to you and on this platform, and that's my personal view, not even the view of Two-Way Radio.
Yeah.
That personally for me, I see with all of the candidates, I see an energetic person. I see someone who has a legal mind, not because I'm a lawyer, but someone who can better look at Liberia and look at the issues, the growing issues around the world, and be able to tackle some of those things. And I think I have said, in my view, I think Gonglo is a good candidate in the race. I have said that to you here. Now, when it comes to CDC, if I'm discussing media issue, I can say with you, you're discussing issue against CDC, and I will side with you to discuss against CDC. I'm not going to do that, right? Even the United Party, let us assume that you were talking, like that the company were talking something against the Unity Party, and he and I on this show, I will not support him for all to sit on this platform and discuss against Unity Party. There will be issue though that we should all be clear in our mind and say this is an issue. For example, we talk about spending power, right, of political parties, and I think all of us have agreed on that. There's no issue. There's no reason why any political party should use state resources to run their campaign. What is CDC? So when I say that, does it mean that I support CDC?
Well, the way you are talking, the way
On the
you
issue
are
of light
talking
poem is
the
a
issue.
number in
I
the
mean,
in the America here, in the America,
putting billboard on lipo.
there's a number
Have you
in this
seen it
America, in
in
this
the
America,
United States?
yes, yes, in the
Where?
America, I have
Where?
seen
Take a
on
picture and
flyers,
send it to me.
Philadelphia, people
Take
do
a
syrup.
picture
There's a
of
number,
billboard for a politician on
there's
a
a number. I'm not
lipo.
talking about
Please
billboard. I'm
take
talking
a
about light
picture.
poles. Light pole. I have seen flyers on light pole. You want me to do that? I can take pictures of flyers on light pole
Dr.
doing campaign
Gompu
and send
did
it to
not
you.
talk about flyer. Like I haven't yard sale or I pour a flyer on the pole. That is not what Dr. Gompu talk about.
But that's what I
Putting
understood him
these
because billboard cannot
putting
fit on
these
a light pole.
billboards, no, Okay, he is here asking.
Yeah, that a couple one. Maybe you can make it clear for us. Is it flyer or billboard on the light pole? Because
These
light
are
pole, you might have
huge.
to.
These are huge photos. Huge photos.
Okay.
They're not just a fly or something like that. And at every major intersection, they have built structures crossing the street that have their billboard. So you will see those that kind of stuff. They build it. They build it with steel structures that goes all the way into the air. Then they build another steel structure crossing over, and then they put, Wea's photo and the other woman, his running.
Yeah, but that a couple one
Okay,
to be
so
clear
that is
here.
there.
Because
Then you got now the issue of these huge
photo
photo.
is a
Huge
billboard.
photo is not just flyer. It's not just flyer. We're not just talking
on the
about flyer.
light poles, on the light pole.
On the light pole. Don't think about it as putting just a flyer, stick to a light pole. No, they build structure on the light pole. It's
Those structure on the light pole.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a structure in the light pole that is holding these pictures up, each and every pole. You
Okay.
know?
I didn't understand. I must admit I didn't understand that way, because if you say light pole, it's not possible to have a huge structure on the light pole. But if they have
Right,
a
you
light
think-
pole and they build something on the light pole, then that's
Right.
concerning.
To
That's
hold
seriously
it,
concerning.
to hold the
The flyer,
the photograph. And
billboard.
now you have flyer. It's a huge, it's almost like a painting. A
The
painting.
picture the election commission were putting on a pole was a very big picture.
Yeah.
And NEC pickup, putting it on the floor. I have the picture.
Okay. But again, as I would say those are all good concern. I'm not saying things to support CDC per se, but all of these issues are electoral issues. And the reason why political parties participate in the election is not only to win or the other way around, to lose election, what have you. But when you strengthen democracy, these are things you go for. And the fact that other people are participating in the election, you can help to make this election better, so that next election people can say, oh yes, even the election commissioner themselves can take credit at the end of the day. It's not just the result, but the manner and form in which election is conducted should be the concern for all of the people.
And I think it should also be the concern of all citizens, especially
I agree.
citizens who are
I agree.
citizens who are
But
privileged.
by and large, you represent those partisans that you control right now. I think you have a lot of voice and you have a stake in the process.
I agree with you, but I think it should not be just on political parties just alone. I think it should also be a collective effort, especially on the part of citizens who are part of the intelligentsia, who know about right.
I agree. And I can promise we will listen to your voices from the discussion. All right. And the next thing we want us to do, time is fast spent, but let's just close our eyes on this. Joseph Boakai, news about Joseph Boakai leaving the country, going to Nigeria. I will start with you, George Nomo. You care to tell us why Joseph Boakai went to Nigeria for? That was a huge noise, right? Let me lay the foundation for it. Before you say I'm fronting for CDC or Alexander Cummings or Tewan Gonglo. This is a huge issue in the media. Joseph Boakai was campaigning.
Let's set it straight.
Yeah.
I have not blamed you for.
No, I know you come to answer, so I know you
Bungalow. That Cummings and CDC. I know your number one person is Cummings.
Okay. All right, whatever you say, but I have to my view. Everybody have heard me. You can say it the way you want to say it. But let's talk about Joseph Boakai love date.
You're the one who asking my party to expel me. So
yeah, because you in another party and doing something else. So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, your party will discuss that.
Go ahead now.
Let's look at Joseph Boakai, right? He's one of those front runners.
Yeah.
And he abandoned his campaign and he left the country without prior notice to his partisans. Let me put it that way, not like doing his partisans. And by the time he left, it became public information. People started discussing, speculating that the old man fell off and then he was rushed out of Liberia. Later on, the UP campaign spokesperson, Mo Ali, came out to say no, the woman was visiting the sub-region. Now, that was strange for some of us. If you say visiting the sub-region, he's not a sitting president to have gone to meet the ECOWAS leaders. There was no ECOWAS forum going on that he went to attend. So you care to give us some, not the detail, but you care to tell us why did he leave? Did he go for health matters? Which, and let me say this before you say, anybody can get sick. I'm one person who believes Joseph Boakai age, he can get sick. I'm not saying he can get sick. Anybody can get sick. So it's not an issue. I listened to Thomas Wolfe of the former governor of Pennsylvania. He was on public television telling the people of Pennsylvania that he had prostate cancer, but he was taking his treatment. Liberian people wouldn't do that. We sit down, even be dying at the end of the day, they don't want anybody to know what is happening to them. So did he only go to Nigeria or Ghana for treatment? Or did he go just to take a quick break? Or did he go for some lobbying to get some money, campaign money? Or what was it for? You care to make any comment?
Well, it is sad that as a journalist, you did not frown on focusing the surveillance camera on a Liberian citizen, private citizen, leaving the country at around 6 o'clock and publishing it in the newspaper that he dropped and he was taken to Ghana or Nigeria for treatment. And even the president of Liberia stating that it is very sad. But Boakai went to Nigeria or to Ghana. Ghana is part of Africa, is part of the sub-region. So I don't see anything why you realize that he was not sick. You saw his picture, his son picture, no, at a hotel, no, discussing. He didn't go to any hospital. And you heard the lady that was interviewing him say, "Are you sick?" And he asked the lady, "Do I look like somebody who is sick?" So these are some of the things you need to put together. You don't want, I don't think you should get anything from me, but you have to objectively look at what happened in totality.
Yeah, but Mr. Numo, thank you for that. But if you say the media, Dr. Gopa, coming to you, if you say the media, the issue is there was a wild speculation. Now, if you were ready for the perspective, you wouldn't tell me you would not write a paragraph to say what the public perception has been, right? So then we told you this is what the public. I'm not in Liberia. Even my correspondent in Liberia, the fellow said, "Well, the way the woman left the country, we already know how he left the country." So there was speculation that the woman fell ill and how he left the country. And the idea of the woman falling sick and leaving the country, people take it to be an issue. The only reason why we emphasize it is because he is one of those front runners. So the camera is actually on him. Whether you think the camera is not on him, the camera is on him. And that's the reason why people are discussing him. Now, if you left the one like
in the country, picture from that camera can only be disclosed when the court subpoena it.
Right.
It's not something that you should take. No, that means you are stalking your own citizen.
No, Mr.
Check on it from security camera.
Any of these political parties in the public sphere,
you cannot show that until you go to court and court subpoena it.
Mr. Nomo, Joe Biden was climbing the stairs, all right, to board his airplane, and he stumbled and fell. The media captured that. There was no secret about that.
It was not surveillance or camera.
Mr.
It
Nomo,
was the journalist camera.
So
you have to know the difference.
Joseph Boakai is a public figure, right? Anyway, let me hear from you, Dr. Gopo.
Well, I don't know the detail of his visit,
Right. We all
And
know.
I don't know why um, a personal visit should become, a media sensation. Whether you're visiting to see the doctor, you're visiting to mobilize resources and whatever. I don't know why such a thing should be, a media sensation that should be discussed as though it's a negative thing or it's a scandal or something like that. For me personally, I think that you have a political institution. When I'm traveling, we have a press. We have the people in the party have to be informed.
Right.
I call the executive committee meet together and let them know that I am traveling. I'll be out of the country for a period of time. I mean,
Yeah.
you in politics, but you also have a personal life. You have to live your life at the same time.
Yep.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't see any reason to make it secret if you have to travel somewhere. So I don't understand.
You
What's
see,
behind
I agree
the
with you.
whole
I
thing.
agree with you. And now it's a difficult that a couple. That's a fine independent view, right? But this is
Mhm.
what I would say. People have contesting election to take state power.
Mhm.
Now, someone like Joseph Boakai, someone we're discussing, Joseph Boakai as a president, he has lived his life. He's successful, right? But at this stage, if I see Joseph Boakai in the race, the party, like you said, you inform your party officials. Sometimes you may tell them, look, you issue a statement that I'm going to some place, depending on the nature of your trip, right? We know everybody get their private life. Joseph Boakai has his private life. But the old man is not a speculation going on surrounding him. So if for any reason there is, why did they even get room for the speculation? Let me say it this way. If I was close, if I was doing a population for Joseph Boakai, probably I would have suggested we write a press statement.
Right.
A short press statement, not going to tell them, say, oh, we're going to look for money or we're going to hospital. But we're writing a press statement where we visit the sub-region. We have all reason to consult with sub-regional leaders or our friends in the sub-region because this has to do with election. If they didn't do that, and then the Omer abruptly left the country, he was on a campaign, do you blame the public for speculating? No, you don't blame them. Now the party came out to provide clarity. Even the clarity they provided, they wanted to say, "Oh, the Omer wanted he went to what visit the sub-region. The sub-region. It appears to us he was a stakeholder, and there was some. In fact, photos started coming where they posting the man with some sub-regional leaders and all of those stuff. So when you do those things, you create more speculation. No rational person going to
Well,
sit down and don't think about these things,
well,
right?
Justin.
It's possible the woman would have gone on a hospital treatment, which is anybody right to do as a private citizen. Everybody can
Mhm.
get issue. Your issue can skype out, you want to go take treatment. It is anybody right, right? But you can't sit and don't inform your own partisans. Not James Johnson sitting out here, but even your own partisans, they have to raise the issue before you go write press statement.
No, you're getting it wrong.
Okay,
Dr.
what's the right thing?
Gompu
What's the right thing?
said
Uh-huh.
when he is leaving the country, he discussed it with his party officials. Nobody told you that Unity Party officials do not know about Boakai trip. Nobody told you that. Boakai is the only candidate in the whole republic that ANC and CDC would like to die.
No,
So
no.
whenever these things happen, they create all these rumors, create all kind of photos. I'm telling you what I know. Thank you.
Okay. Well, for us here, we don't wage that Omer will die. The Omer has reached an age, and this is the independent
Who they
statement that
we
we
now?
make on that.
CDC and ANC.
Yeah, CDC did something. We even published it and went so wow. We have over some more thousand people viewing that recording that we did from our end. And all we said, you cannot take cascade with somebody and talking craziness about that. We wrote even a statement on that. We issued that, but that is not the point here. The point here is you want to become a political leader for Liberia. Joe Weah leave Liberia and go live somewhere for 1 month. All the people criticizing him, right? So when Joseph Boakai leave under the kind of situation, if he's doing this, then when he get elected, he's going to do the same thing. He can leave anytime, go to them later somewhere, and you're going to be there causing all of it. No, oh yeah, the man has a right, he have a private life and all of those stuff. What you practice now is what you will preach. So what is wrong? You put to a radio statement. CDC, the few group of persons, the more
Because
Ali
they
and the
want
George
they
Numo,
want to kill him before the
no,
election.
that's not the issue. The
Yes,
old
that
man
is
has
the
his own
issue.
life in his hands.
That is the issue.
No, the old man
You
has his own
don't
life.
know what Joe Walker is going through.
No more.
I'm telling you.
No, and again,
Okay.
if you join the politics, you have the
Okay,
right.
but that means I know you are part of them.
No, not the issue. You see how you taking
Karen
it? You listen to Dr. Gopu, right?
It's different from what we are talking about.
You listen to Dr. Gopu, right? And that is the maturity of political parties. You tell your people that you are leaving, especially Joseph Boakai. He's one of the popular figures right now in this election. Nobody can deny that. He's a front runner. Not just a few group of persons. His partisans, you should inform them. And how to do that is not to go call a whole group of people and tell them.
Yes, you are wrong. He informed his partisans.
No, he did not. That's what the speculation came about. The statement of Mo Ali came on after the speculation. You know that, Mr. Numo. But let's go beyond that.
Did he tell the partisan to issue a statement? No, that's why they didn't issue a statement. But
no, Mo Ali came out to issue the statement after the speculation. That's what I'm saying. That's the public information.
Okay.
And you know that.
I mean, you know.
All right.
Agree with me. I would not agree with you.
Okay. That's what about it. We hope we wish other people success and that the couple you are withdrawn, but we know you are at stake in this election. We want other people to do the best. We want free, fair, transparent elections. I would have thrown in time as far as I would throw in this whole coup issue around West Africa. How people see it. Now, people, when you want to discuss the reality, people think you're bewitching the country. That is not the case. But if you see a blind man struggling to find a door, and you yourself you're blind, you might be worried about yourself. Right? So Africa is in this turmoil, this coup all over. I listened to the UN Secretary General who says Africa will need to conduct or put a house in order. There's too much things that are going on. Not just the coup. He's not directly condemning the coup, but he says African leaders themselves, the democratic process is like they're now well respecting it. And that is a concern for everybody. Now, George Weah, we don't want to speculate, but we just hope that the best will happen. Having said those, this election is in your hands. You're the politicians and you're the advisors. What will you say to the military, the George Weah, the opposition people as we close on or coming closer to the election towards next month?
Yeah, so I think those coups are important.
Really?
They have implications for our foreign policy. They have implications for our domestic policy because when our neighbors
before you continue on, that's a serious statement. Your opening statement was forceful.
And
I don't know what
let me come in. Yes,
okay.
I'm not laughing at Dr. Gompu, but I'm laughing at the question you asked.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Dr. Gompu.
Yeah, so it has, I mean, it's relevant. These things happening are relevant to us because we are in the region, we are on the continent. This is happening mainly in West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had experience with coup before. So we have to be concerned,
right?
Especially with respect to how to recalibrate our foreign policy to ensure that we stay on the democratic path.
Right.
But right. There's a saying that, and maybe the West Africans need to know, the ECOWAS need to know, the Liberians need to know that if you want peace, fight for justice. You see, rather than just saying you're going after peace and you're forgetting about justice. So a lot of the turmoil, a lot of the military takeover is an indication of failures in this country, especially right. At the economic level.
Right.
Because although the government might be showing some very encouraging numbers, they have their propaganda machine and what have you. But when you start looking under the hood in many of these countries, they are failing when it comes to the welfare of the people. So you cannot just be throwing democracy at people and say, oh, you know, you gotta be democratic, you gotta be democratic when people are hungry. Look at how the population in these different countries have reacted to these military coups. The population are not coming out to condemn the coup. They are not even abstaining from praising this coup because of the conditions that exist on the ground. So if we want genuine democracy in these countries where citizens can express themselves, we have to think about justice, economic justice. We have to fight inequality, meaning that we have to lift a lot of people out of poverty. You cannot keep making promises and the people are just stuck. And then you got the 1 to 2% who run the system in these places. They're just laughing to the bank and expanding their bank account. And you're telling people, oh, just go and vote and just stay with democracy, just stay with democracy. So my view now is that as when I become president, or if I'm advising another president who wants to listen to me, we got to be serious about fighting these problems in the country. You can't deliver solutions and you're hoping that people will just remain democratic. I think you're wasting your time in a lot of cases. We need now for even our foreign partners to begin to show us their anti-corruption plan. It's not enough to just condemn corruption. It's not enough to just condemn inequality. It's not just enough to condemn poverty. Each person coming in to interact with us must have, even if it's a one-page document, the way they will help to fight corruption in these countries, the way they will help to fight poverty in this country, and the way they will help to bring economic justice in these countries. Otherwise, we're all at risk.
Okay, there's a number.
Yeah, your question of how will I advise the military? Are you talking about the military in those countries or in Liberia? I want to get
in Liberia. You can advise the military. You can advise the government. You can advise political parties. And even the media, whatever.
I congratulate the military in Nigeria and in Gabon. Job well done.
Why?
Because they are suppressed, the citizens are suppressed, and at the same time, France, ECOWAS, US feel that they have democracy in these countries. There's no democracy. So as long as they continue to support these dictators, we will continue to have coup d'etats in Africa, mainly West Africa. Gabon is a rich country. I mean, but their citizens, those riches do not cascade to the common people. And that is what's going on in Liberia. In Liberia, I don't have to explain anything. You know all the stories. But when it comes to advising the military in Liberia, I cannot do it on this show here.
I don't even want to
know
do
what my decision is.
But Mr. Numo, do you think to you and Dr. Gopo, elections and democracy, when the citizens have suffered for, let's say, 6 years in Liberia situation, this is the perfect time to allow democracy to work. This is the perfect time to reject a government. A military takeover, there are disadvantages you're not going to see right now. Like, for example, in the situation of Gabon, all right, you have a cousin of the president,
Yes.
who is now the leader. So people are not even critical to look at that coup. You don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. So democracy can be supported. I will support democracy. And I believe the Liberian people under this situation, they are the decision makers at this time to stop any other coup expected. I don't want to say there will be a coup because somebody say, oh, Jenny say there will be a coup. But it is important that Liberians feel their own pains. If they don't do and they speak to maintain the very system, why should there be a coup?
Okay, I have a question for you. We are going to election. Omil left several years ago. There has been no coup. Everybody was waiting for this year. What you think will happen when the Liberian people elect Joe Boakai or Alexander Cummings or Tiawan Gonglo or Moriba? What you think will happen when the government rig the election?
Well, that's a good question.
Like in Gabon, because all Liberians want to go and vote and get this over with. But then we have the election commission, we have the government, and
I agree.
This plan that is circulated, the election commissioner, bribes are on it. So what will happen? What do you think will happen if the government and the election commission rig the election? Please tell me.
Let me congratulate you for that question. It's a serious concern, and we do not think that we will attempt that route, right? In the same vein, we do not think that opposition political parties or the military, for any reason, will take a route to reintroduce coup in Liberia.
Well,
what should happen, and I know you're going to kick against that, is that political parties, there's a system set up. You may not like the system, but you must pursue what you have, right? You can file your necessary petition at the level of the Supreme Court and look up to a decision. That's the most civilized, democratic means, and not to introduce a military coup in Liberia.
Jensen, I'm not saying that ANC, Unity Party, or LPP, I don't know more about a party name. I was going to mention the party name.
Like
go and stage a coup d'etat. Coup d'etat does not come from political parties. You know, Gabon, opposition leader is still saying that they should continue to count the ballots.
Right.
So no, it's the outrage, the moral outrage from the citizen and from the military that bring the coup d'etat. It's not political parties. You think
we agree.
Why UP or LPP, why they didn't take the presidency when they overthrew?
Yeah, Mr. Numo, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. But when it comes to election result, it is political parties that will keep pushing the line. Because it would not even be in the interest of opposition political party if the military was ever to take power, assuming something went wrong. That would even disadvantage them. You never would tell even what will happen to the opposition leaders. So we cannot sit here and say, well, we encourage those people and any left.
Right, with nobody encourages coup.
Right.
Ordinary citizens do not decide to have coup. So the thing is that when there is no justice, when there is fraud, okay, and when there is impunity, so you commit fraud, if you commit fraud, and then the court sits there and the court feels that is connected to those who have power and does nothing. The court, our court, is not independent. You know that, right?
Yeah. No, I don't know that. I don't know that because.
But you believe that our court is independent? You're a lawyer.
There are times that there might be problem with cases. Individuals have their own experiences in the courtroom. But to stay here and tell you say there are problems with the code, that general statement, no, I can't make that general statement for you.
Yeah, I don't think our courts are independent from the political authority. I think we still have a long way to go to have real judicial independence. So what we're not in favor of military take. I'm not in favor of military takeover. And the military make those decisions on their own. They don't consult civilians. Usually, they don't consult political parties and whatsoever. So there are things that need to be done. There are problems that need to be solved. So when we, even if we continue to just have elections and accept results, if we don't solve those problems, we're laying the foundation for instability, and that's what is happening in these countries. So, I mean, the PRC didn't consult anybody. You know that. You see, so we're not encouraging it.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to say that the conditions in these countries can be an indicator of the probability of coups. So let's address these conditions. Let's address the inequality. Let's bring more competent people on the court, make the court more independent, detach the court from political authority and from political persuasion, and then let people believe that the courts can work, and that you cannot, you will not always lose when you take your cases there. When citizens are believing that, the military will see it, and then the military stay away from politics. But we pray and hope.
I think this is a big topic, and I want to say, because we can't go in the detail of this, but I think this is something that we will look at in the future too, as we get closer to the elections. Because honestly, it's a sticky issue. Because, like I said, if you get a cousin of the former president taking power, it could happen in the other way around. For example, like when we just think dirty for a minute, you can say, what if an agent of the CDC, if they lose election, coup is playing in the other way around, right? Now, anyone who supports coup, you don't know how it's organized, you never know how it comes about, you never know who are behind it. So you will have the very group that you rejecting turn it into a coup. Then that becomes the worst situation, because you get what? Liberia, especially those of you at the front line, political leaders, people start targeting your home, your children, your wife, and everybody. These are
I
all
agree with you. Fully agree with you. A coup is not a good thing.
Right.
A coup is not a good thing. It's almost like the last straw. I don't know what ends up happening, like the last straw. Everything else is not working. Because most of the time, these politicians, these military people are not ready to lead.
Right. That's just why the UN
space.
Yes, that's just what the UN Secretary General was saying. You bring people into the picture, they come to governance, then they start finding me. How do we manage finance? How do we manage governance? Then again, the people start, the other people running around carbon, they don't know the problem. They only care the thing that problem going to be solved just in that minute of time, or these people going to solve their problem.
Of course.
So you who know, what's going to happen next, you start discussing it to avoid the kind of situation. And we want to say thank you so much for coming. We want to ask for your closing comment. George, no more, you have about 1 minute, and then we'll talk to Dr. Gabu. I think we'll give you more time today, not 2 hours. Oh, we're not charging anybody here.
Maybe they will charge me. I will send a bill.
Oh, we'll charge the Unity Party, right?
No, I will charge it to you. or to CDC or ANC. Okay. Thank you. Thanks to 2A Radio for the discussion. I enjoy it. I think I made my position, my points clear to Mr. Jensen, where I stand. When he wants my party to expel me.
No, you say first.
The military, what we just discussed, The only way somebody from CDC would think about a coup d'etat is when anybody from the opposition wins. And that coup will not be popular. And if CDC rigged the election and there is a coup d'etat, that coup d'etat, without thinking about any repercussions, the coup d'etat will be popular. But we
Mr.
do
Nomore,
not
Mr.
want-
Nomore, Mr.
hold
Nomore.
on. That's my
No, your
closing
statement, your
That's
statement
my
is,
closing statement.
yeah, but statement
We
is,
do not want to go there. So my advice to CDC and NEC that is planting polls or planting or posters for the campaign must not rig the election. And I feel that at the end of the day, Joseph Boakai will win the election. I thank you.
okay, Dr. Gompo.
Yes, I want to thank you, my host, and thank 2A Radio for the opportunity to be here. The task of building Liberia into a vibrant nation is a responsibility of all of us citizens, especially for political leaders like myself. And although we have postponed our participation in the presidential elections, we are looking forward. My party is looking forward to 2029. But meanwhile, we are staying active now and towards 2029. There are so many issues in Liberia that affects citizens' quality of life, from job creation to education to economic justice to infrastructure development to food insecurity. All of these things are things that I am deeply concerned about. And although I will not be president in 2023 through elections, we plan to, in some minimum way, begin as a political party to find means to address some of the issues we're concerned about in our platform. So we hope that we all can get involved and ensure that there is justice and ensure that this election will be transparent, free, and fair. Some of those information coming out that some political parties are planning to use NEC data to plan their political strategy are not very good signals, because no political party should have the voters' information through NEC in terms of knowing voters' addresses, their age, their political leanings, because the election is supposed to be free, fair, and also it's supposed to be by secret ballot. So NEC should be concerned about those things as well. So I think this is just a beginning of these conversations.
Right.
I hope we continue to have them. I hope we can mobilize Liberians, especially Liberians in the diaspora, because most of the Liberians in the diaspora are considered to be Liberian middle class, and who can afford to invest in Liberia's development. Let people not sit by and just hope that Liberia will be fine. Somehow, some way, somebody will solve all of Liberia's problems. We need to mobilize citizens. We need to call on these citizens. And I would like to appeal to them to listen to some of these conversations, join in on the conversations, and let's all work together in finding ways to make our country the best it can be. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thanks to the two of you. And before I close, there was a key point you raised here. Technology is a very serious issue, and there are many persons who don't know what is going on. There might be fewer persons who may want to tap into technology to, instead of white people focusing on the CDC or rigging election, and they themselves start to get involved into other hype that will undermine, the transparency that we all are yearning for. So we want to urge all of the political parties. We wish for a free, fair, transparent elections, and we hope that everybody will get involved to ensure a free, fair, transparent election. On the issue of coup, hey, we send a caveat. We don't support coup in Liberia, and the discussion is in no way suggesting that there will be coup in Liberia. In the same vein, let there be a transparent election. The CDC must not try to rig the elections. Opposition political parties must not try to manipulate the elections. So when it's free, fair, whoever wins the election, if it is George Weah, so be it. It is Joseph Boakai, so be it. If it is Tiawan Gonglo or whoever, so be it. If it is Alexander Cummings, let the election result be what it is. I want to say thanks for those who watch this show and make their comment. We can read the comment right now. But we say, hey, we follow the issues. There are two major issues that we might come to discuss later. This military thing, we think we need to keep discussing it. And the issue that the Gopu just raised. And my mind did not cross on that, but it's a serious thing. We play with artificial intelligence. We know the power of AI. I listened to somebody yesterday say even that AI is being trained to even smell, to know the differences of smell. So what more to talk about election results? So people who are studying, they can do anything. So I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Gopu. We might get back to you to see, maybe we can come and discuss that issue in detail with John Number. John Number is he's a friend of technology, so we might bring you on board too and see whether we can also add expand that discussion. Once again, I want to say thank you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you people on the show. Feel free anytime. We're not charging you John Number, so don't be afraid. And Dr. Gopu, hey, this is your platform. And all other political parties, we not say for these two people, no. CDC, you want to come on this show? Just hit me up. We'll bring you right on the show. Senator Balu. Maybe we need to bring Senator Balu here. We saw some other stuff. I hope he's listening to us. So we had to bring Senator Balu here. I think he's taking different trend. We need to bring it on this show to also understand some other issue. So those are who close to Senator Balu. Share the video and then say, hey, we need to contact him and bring on the show. Thank you so much.
I think we are coming on Tuesday too.
Okay, all right. That's good. We'll work out all of the details. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you coming on.
We deliver the news to your door. Breaking news, top headlines, the big story, the latest update, and all you need to know are only available on the African Actions Network. 2